Hey guys, welcome back to Overtakes. This is Misfit, and it is time for our Week 4 of Stage 1 picks. I'll be doing this one solo, so we're going to rifle through these really quick, and we just wanted to give you guys, a heads up on who we have in all the matches today and for the rest of the weekend. So let's hit Thursday, where we have the Atlanta Reign taking on the Los Angeles Gladiators. The Reign playing very, very well. The Gladiators, not so much. We both have Atlanta in this one. We think it's going to be pretty easy for Atlanta. Gladiators are going to put up a fight, but at the end of the day, we think the Reign are going to take this one pretty handily. And the Gladiators are going to be down to 1-5, which is not what anyone expected. But let's move on. Speaking of having a bad start, Los Angeles Valiant taking on the Philadelphia Fusion. We both have the Philadelphia Fusion in this one. Once again, pretty handily, we think. Valiant not playing well at all. And the Fusion are coming back after the Boombox being out for the 1 week where they lost 2 games. They look a little bit better. But there are some holes there. Hashtag put in Fraggy. Anyway, so not really much to talk about in this one. Philadelphia takes it. Both of us have them. Let's move on to the last match of Thursday, where we have the Toronto Defiant taking on the Chengdu Hunters. Toronto, coming off of a win last week, looked a lot better against Boston than they did earlier in the week against New York, but who doesn't look bad against New York right now? Chengdu, people are catching up to the wacky strats, the Wrecking Ball, and whatever else the multi-DPS setups they have in this current meta is not working if you pay attention to your game and not what they're doing, which we both think Toronto's going to do that. We both have them taking it pretty handily as well in this one. And just a side note with Toronto, if they stay focused, they're gonna take this one and pretty much slot themselves in the playoffs with a win here. So let's move on to Friday. We have Paris taking on the Vancouver Titans. Vancouver, it looks like they're probably the best, one of the best, 1A if you want to call it, with New York. They're pretty much steamrolling everybody. They have the best cohesion of any team. They know how each other plays. They have all of the good things going on. Paris coming off a disappointing loss to Atlanta, where I personally thought they could take Atlanta with their discipline and things like that. We both have Vancouver in this one. It could be close at certain points in the match. I don't think it's going to get to a 3-2. It wouldn't surprise me if Paris took a map from them, because they are a really good team, especially in this meta. But Vancouver is just worlds above them and 99% of the other teams except for maybe one. Who we are going to be talking about in the next match, which is our feature match of Friday. The New York Excelsior taking on the San Francisco Shock. Big match here. We both like New York because, well, you kind of have to in this one. San Francisco, though, is going to make a game out of it. We talked a lot about them in our match previews in our previous episode today. San Francisco, they're a really good team. Violet's showing why he's in for Sleepy. Fantastic addition. Sinatra on the Zarya's doing really well. A little shaky on the front line with the tanks, which is where this match is going to be won for New York, with Meko and Mono going against either Super and Smurf and Chuck Hyobin. You got to take New York in this one. Across the board, New York is just probably in this meta, well, in almost any meta, they're disciplined, their skill level's superior to most teams, and they're just gonna take it to San Francisco. This one could go 5 maps though. Not gonna be surprised at all. Okay, so let's move on. Next match, the final match of Friday, we have a rematch of last week's one of last week's games on Sunday. The Shanghai Dragons taking on the Dallas Fuel in a strange back-to-back week scenario we have going on here. Shanghai with the worst C9 ever in that game, other than the original, probably. Taking on Dallas, who looked a lot better with AKM in most of the match, which we were calling for and said, it needs to be done. It's time. And Dallas looked decent enough. They have holes. They have spots where they're kind of meh, they're kind of shaky, I guess. Shanghai, the same thing. I think we're all overrating Shanghai a little bit, but return match, they gave Dallas a good show. They very well could have won that match. Both Kel and I have Shanghai in this one. We were agreeing a lot this week. There's really not a lot to, debate in these matches. They're pretty, they're pretty straightforward as far as, except for maybe the Dallas one, a couple of the matches during the day. That one could go either way, Shanghai, Dallas. We're both taking Shanghai, though. So let's move on to Saturday. All right, Valiant fans. Is today the day? The Los Angeles Valiant taking on the Houston Outlaws. Both teams fairly disappointing. Houston seemed to have gotten things a little bit together, but the caveat is they beat the Mayhem. They worked around their wacky strats. They got things together. They looked a lot better. And you guys know I knock Houston a lot, but I can't knock them for their performance last week. They played really well in spots. The Valiant have not played really well in any spots, except for Izzyaki and his fragging. And maybe a little bit you could throw some praise to Space, but it's just not, they're just not built for this meta. It goes back to the, we were saying with the Simon Cowell on American Idol. This song choice is not for you. This meta is not for you, Los Angeles, as a whole. But we both have Houston in this one, so don't ever say, hey, we don't give the Houston Outlaws love. We think they're going to take the Valiant in this one, and the Valiant are going to drop down to 0-6. And let's move on. Next match of Saturday, we have the Seoul Dynasty taking on the Washington Justice. Hopefully Seoul can figure this one out. We both think they can. We both have Seoul taking Washington. Washington is absolutely terrible. Really not much to say in this one, except for Seoul needs to figure out how to play with Fissure, how to get some people like Fleta a little bit more into an aggressive play with Zarya. They need to pick what they are, because there's matches where they're aggressive, there's matches where they're not. They're just, they need to get it together, and this is the perfect time to do that against the worst team in the league. So we both have Seoul in this one. Moving on, we have the Guangzhou Charge taking on the Los Angeles Gladiators. This is one of the ones that we differ on. So we have differing opinions on this. Kel seems to think that, Kel thinks that Los Angeles can get a win here, the Gladiators, that is, against Guangzhou. I like Guangzhou. They're on a good uptick. I'm liking what this team's doing. I just think in this meta, the way they're playing is a lot better than Los Angeles right now for the moment. We'll see in future, stages and stuff like that. But, and it's not to say that the Gladiators are not going to put up a fight. I think this is going to be a 5-map match. Coming down to that last push on whatever the control point is. I think it's going to be one of those nail-biter kind of matches. Guangzhou seems to be the team that does those matches this year, and they seem to play up or down to their competition. So, I like Guangzhou. Kel likes the Gladiators. Let's move on. Let's move on to the last match of Saturday. So here's another one where we differ in opinion. I, of course, am taking Toronto. I just like them. They're more consistent. They're getting more consistent as the weeks go on. The more they work with each other, they give me that Philly kind of vibe last year a little bit. Where once they started getting their shit together, they started playing as a team. Communication started getting, really well, with each other. They just were flat out above what we all expected them to be. And I think Toronto's there. Hangzhou has the opposite problem. In my opinion, they do not have good communication right now. They're a little there's pieces and parts that are off that can be fixed. And I think they will. But I think today, Toronto takes it. Kel disagrees with me on this one. He likes Hangzhou. He thinks they're going to take the Toronto Defiant. So let's move on to Sunday. We start off with San Francisco and Paris. Big match here. We both like the San Francisco Shock in this one. I think the Atlanta Reign exposed them a little bit, Paris. And San Francisco's really solid. They're well disciplined. They're very smart players. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down to that the last map. I think San Francisco probably be ahead 2-1, where if, Paris has to take it to force overtime, or San Francisco takes it to win the match 3-1. We both seem to think San Francisco is going to be the one to take this one. I think it's going to be a close one, but you got to go San Francisco on this. Let's move on to the next match of the day. We have London and Shanghai. So, London looking a lot better, putting profit on. Zarya seems to have paid great dividends to them. They have more cohesion. They look like they're back to where they were last year. In a way, not totally like that. Shanghai, like I said, we're all overrating them a little bit. But I think they're going to put up a fight, but London takes this one just on sheer talent. Shanghai looks better. The more they play with Gamsu, the better they're going to look. But in this one, we both got London. Let's move on to the next match. We have the Florida Mayhem taking on the Boston Uprising. My team has a shot in this one, not a large one, but at the end of the day, much like the match before it, Boston is a better team, and I think their skill level is just going to... They have more skilled players right now than the Mayhem do, with fusions in there, and Note, and adding in Aim God, and you have Color Hex, and Blase playing really good. This team is on the rise. They're way better than the Mayhem, honestly. The Mayhem can give them a match because you don't know what you're going to get with the Mayhem. There are times when they perform really well, especially on Control, or not on Control, on Escort and Hybrid maps. Look for them to take one of those, if not both of those, and force maybe a 5. But at the end of the day, they can't play the Control maps and the Assault maps that you really need to be a complete team and win a complete match. Boston should take this one. We both have Boston. Let's move on to the last match of the night. Really not much to say in this one. Vancouver taking on Chengdu. Vancouver, the way they play, should just mash 4-0, I would say. Chengdu, I don't think they have a prayer in this one. I would be shocked if they took a map. I think this is going to be one of those, like we saw last week, where we had Seoul and New York playing each other. I mean, two different teams, different skill levels, but same result, where Vancouver is just going to flex their muscles and just say, hey, look, we're the best right now. If not, we're, close to the best. It's hard not to call them that. It's hard not to call New York the best. I can't wait. I pray to God they get in the stage finals so we can finally see that match. But anyway, both of us have Vancouver in this one, and it's not even going to be close. So, all right, guys, those are our picks for Stage 1, Week 4. We will be back on Sunday. Don't forget, we're going to be doing our Sunday back cap somewhere around 10:30 Eastern time on Twitch, on our Twitch channel. The link is down below in the description. So come in. We'll talk about the matches. You can tell us where we were wrong and laugh at us, or, whatever you want to do. Come in, discuss matches, what happened over the course of the week. And then, of course, next week we'll start with, we'll have our power rankings, and we'll go through it again. We have a limited schedule next week. So there's going to be games on Saturday and Sunday. So look for stuff a little bit later in the week, just because there's not as many matches and things like that. But as always, thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks for all of your likes, all of your subscribes, all the conversations we've had, and definitely get in to Discord, because one of us, if not both of us, are going to be on our Discord channel. The link is down below. Come on in, talk matches with us, and, we'll have some fun. This week ought to be very interesting. Some of the matches are not great, but you never know what can happen. This league has proved this year, right when you're ready to expect the things to go one way, they go the opposite. So, thanks a lot again, guys. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy all the matches, and we will talk to you later.